What's up, guys? This is Astranox. Welcome to my showcase for Death Dealer Raid. This is actually an amazing hero. This is a hero that is able to mess up the enemy team real good if you have him in the right team composition. And you're going to be able to inflict venom all over their heroes on their team multiple times, and you're going to be able to put a lot of pressure and you're going to be able to control them with sleep on his skill 1 and skill number 3. It is quite devastating. So as you can see, I have him with 15 skill up so you guys can see what kind of damage he's able to do. Now I did build ML Ray with the speed and hit set, and I feel like that is the better way to go about it. You could have him on counter set as well, but I just wanted him to cycle faster. Water origin so he can just survive better. And you can bring him without having any sustain, no healing. Just control the crap out of the enemy team. It's a lot of fun. And as you can see, a lot of survivability on him. Very high base defense and very high health as well. Makes up for some crazy survivability on this hero. So effectiveness at over 150%. He gets the effectiveness buff for the whole team, including himself. That is 50% effectiveness increase. And now with the team that I'm running and teams that you should use Death Dealer Ray in, you need to deal with the immunity that the enemy might have. You need to control whoever can cleanse debuffs off of the enemy team. It's very important. But what is the most powerful thing with Death Dealer Ray is using heroes that constantly attack the whole enemy team when they have the pestilence buff that he applies on the whole team beside on himself. So you're able to inflict venom on multiple heroes multiple times because you get pestilence buff for 2 turns. So imagine you're attacking their whole enemy team, you know, in a 4v4 format. That's 4 heroes, right? So that's 4 venom twice, so 8 venom. And you're going to be able to do some crazy stuff with that. It's just going to be putting so much pressure on the enemy, and the damage happens at the start of their turn. It inflicts injury as well, 10% of their maximum health. Inflicts injury, and his skill number 3 for Death Dealer Ray just inflicts additional damage based on 80% of the injury already inflicted against the enemy. It's something that they can't escape out of, and it's something that he's just a ticking bomb. He's just there on the battlefield. You keep your team alive, or you just control the crap out of the enemy team. They won't be able to do much. And you can end up doing some big damage with Venom in a slower play style. You don't need to just finish the battle in 2-3 turns. This is going to be a hero that you can bring in battles that are going to be longer, you know, multiple turns. The frenzy can be building up in World Arena. You could have some healing, you can have revive, you can have defense buff. You know, you could have a very tanky team. He could be your sole damage dealer. Just make sure that there's, you know, another hero in the team that can attack their whole enemy team. And also something very important is that those heroes that attack their whole enemy team, when they have pestilence, you want them to put venom as much as possible. You want to have the best chance to apply venom. So you need to build effectiveness on these heroes. This is crucial because if they don't have the effectiveness, they're not going to be able to land those venoms. And it's super important that you make that happen. The effectiveness buff is just 50% effectiveness increase, so you need to build a decent amount of effectiveness already on those heroes that will be having pestilence for 2 buff, right? The faster you make your Death Dealer Ray, the faster he's going to be able to use that skill 2 again, and that will just put so much pressure on the enemy because venom is super strong. Like, that's not poison, it's venom. It's not 5% of the hero's maximum health. In damage, it's 10%, and then there's the injury. So even if they heal, they're reducing their maximum health because of the injury. And then the skill 3 of ML Ray will be super hard hitting. If you bring the injury to 50% of their maximum health, it's just going to be crazy. It's just going to be a lot of burst damage when it happens, but you do need to build 5 focus. So you need to be using skill 2 and then skill 1 twice, and then you can have 5 focus. Now, if you build him on a counter set and he counters, you're building 1 focus because he used the skill number 1. So that could be a way, if you feel lucky, to just build, you know, the focus faster. But to be honest, like, I feel like he's very devastating even before using the skill number 3, because if you have heroes like I'm using, let's say Dizzy, right? Not a hard hero to have. Dizzy and Holiday Euphine, as an example, is that those heroes always attack the whole enemy team, and you're going to be able to put so much pressure with all those venoms. You know, like if you're landing 4 venoms, like 1 on each of their heroes in a 4v4 format, twice, 8 venom is ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous because they're just taking so much damage, and then you can detonate with ML Ray with his skill number 1, whichever hero is the deadliest, whichever hero might, you know, try to cleanse their debuffs. But you do have to be very careful if the enemy, let's say, cleanse debuffs and puts immunity buff on themselves. So there's going to be quite a few team compositions that you have to watch out. You might want to pick him last in the World Arena so you don't have to have too many counters against him, right? If you are fighting teams that have like Champion Zerato, Designer Lilibet, heroes that are going to mess you up if you just bring a heavy debuffing team. So to be honest, like in a control environment, it's much easier to pull off because you know who you're fighting. You're fighting the AI, so they're stupid. They're attacking the element they're strong against, so the damage can be spread out throughout your team. But if you're fighting a player in the World Arena, it's gonna be hard to pull off picking a team that has multiple heroes that attack their whole team. Maybe they counter that by itself. Maybe they're running, you know, like a Ram, multiple counter attack opportunities. And then she can get out of debuffs when her passive triggers. Maybe they have a Bellion, and Bellion is just going to counter like crazy because, you know, she's got Elbridge, she's on counter set, and her counter attacks are very hard hitting. They can be, and it's something to watch out for. Even if you have a tanky team, you have some sustain, you have some healing, and they're inflicting injury against you. I don't know, like a Bellion on injury with Elbridge's Ritual Sword, it's going to be very dangerous. So you have to be careful about that. I feel like this hero is definitely going to shine in a control environment. When you're facing players, there's just so many different opportunities for them to counter with various different heroes. But if you can make it happen, taking care of their immunity with a hero that, I mean, I'm using Lua, it seems to be working okay, right? And then you bring at least one hero that attacks her whole team constantly. Like Dizzy is a strong one because she's got powerful debuffs, she can be very tanky, she could be on a counter set, but you have to be mindful of the fact that Pestilence cannot land Venom if you trigger a counter attack or a dual attack. You're not going to be able to inflict Venom on them on those type of attack, right? So it's really going to be on your turn. For 2 turns, you have the Pestilence buff, and then you apply Venom for, you know, 2 turns. That adds up real quick, the amount of damage that they're able to take. So as you can see in my battles, I like to be running at least one hero that attacks their whole team, and I like to have some control. I like to take care of their immunity. So if, let's say, the Destina that I'm fighting, or whichever, you know, cleanser you're fighting has super high effect resistance, and you cannot match that with effectiveness, you can't counter it, you can't cripple that hero with a sleep at the very least, a silence, a stun, something, then your whole plan goes out the window. Like, it's gonna be a disaster. So there's quite a few ways for the enemy to mess up your plan, but when it works out, well, it's definitely a lot of fun because you are inflicting damage in small amounts, and then when you detonate the Venom, it is quite a bit of burst damage all at once, and it, like, you know, ML Ray is not a hero that is made for big single target, you know, direct damage. It's just something you build, and it feels good that you're seeing all these Venoms and you're about to just detonate the crap out of them. So that's really cool. And also, the fact that he has a reliable sleep on skill 1 with the Soul Burn for 10 souls, that is very strong because you could be sort of like locking, like, not a stun lock, but you're locking that cleanser from cleansing their whole team, right? So this is definitely a hero that is very fun, and I didn't even bring Sharoon because I want to show you guys that you don't need to have Sharoon in the team with himself. Because if I brought Sharoon and I'm showing you guys the combo of that Dealer Ray with Sharoon, you're gonna be like, do I need her all the time to make it happen? No, you don't. You don't. Like, it's going to be stronger to have a different type of hero that brings like powerful debuffs, like let's say a Dizzy that constantly attacks their whole team. It's putting a lot of pressure with the Pestilence buff when they have it. But you need to have effectiveness on those heroes because you're just going to get the Venom to be resisted if you don't have it. So that's why if you're running a team that is a control team that has deep debuffing heroes, then you will have to build effectiveness anyways on those heroes, and it's just gonna end up working out for you. So there's not like a ton of heroes that attack their whole enemy team with their whole kit, like skill 3, 2, but especially the skill 1, because that's going to be the skill that you're going to be using the most in a long battle. But I feel like with other heroes getting released in the future, we're going to have a decent amount of heroes to choose from. And to be honest, like testing this out with a Dizzy and Holiday Euphine, it's not that big of a deal. You guys can get those heroes built up, and to be honest, like Dizzy is much more powerful than Holiday Euphine, so I would work on building a Dizzy, with ML Ray. But it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. It's making control stronger, and you can really control them real nice. It's just that there's quite a few counters, sadly, and it's gonna be hard to pick those heroes in World Arena without the enemy picking a bunch of counter heroes against your setup. But beside that, it's just a ton of fun. Let us know what you guys think about all that in the comment section. That's it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all you do. Peace out for now.